Kaguya's backstory in the anime, which was a filler episode, which I have no idea why it was a filler episode. I really wished it was adapted into a manga. And I do know that, her story in the anime kind of, for me, didn't contradict anything we were told in the manga.
No, it's
Because
not that. What the part that contradicts is when the Ten Tails is essentially born. It's
oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
anime, the Divine Tree just turns into the Ten Tails, exactly like Hagoromo and everyone thought it did.
Mhm.
But in the manga,
Okay.
Setsu says, no, you guys were wrong. The Ten Tails was actually Kaguya. And Databook says Kaguya integrated with the Divine Tree to become the Ten Tails. Which, as a side note, dude, it's crazy how Hagoromo just didn't know that. Like, what did he think happened to Kaguya? Like, he was fighting her, and then all of a sudden he just sees her gut. Did he think? The only way I can get around this is that Hagoromo thought the Divine Tree ate Kaguya, basically. It like absorbed her, and so she was just gone. And now he's like, "Oh, my mom's dead. I got this raging beast to deal with now." That's got to be what he thought happened, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Because
Okay.
he had to have seen like what happened.
Hamura, when she was being controlled by Kaguya, she felt Kaguya's emotions. And this is funny. He says that Kaguya was alone. So Kaguya's emotions had, I guess this is already after she betrayed Jigen. She felt like she came here alone and that she was doing what she had to do for her children. That does go towards the tragic tale direction I was talking about. Also that she was scared, which indicate that's proof right there that Momoshiki, Kinshiki, or Shigishi's just scared of them.
I mean,
It's
I like having this in the manga too, just the backstory part. Like, you don't necessarily need all of the stuff the filler does, obviously, but like there's just the concept behind the backstory. They could have done a little bit more because I'm fine. Like, obviously, Kaguya, there's elements of tragedy with her, but then there's elements of selfishness with her. It's a mix of the two because that's what makes her a villain. It's just fucking because there's a mix of the problems. Like, so I,
kind
I
of
don't mind it at all. Like Hagoromo basically says it's like she just became, you could say, overwhelmed with power. The power just changed her, the chakra fruit. But I mean, even then though, I feel like she was always selfish to some degree.
Well, I feel
Some
like the
things, okay? Like,
selfishness amplifies the tragic angle, though, because it says that she's doing what she
yeah,
has to do, what she feels like she
Do
has to do.
exactly.
do you think that Kaguya should have gotten her own arc? Or,
Well, she
Movie
did
would be
technically,
crazy.
but
I mean, not. What is it really? Her own arc? Cause like it's just a continuation of like the war arc, right?
well, yeah, it's all within the. See, the thing is, the Oodie would probably love to explain that, but the war arc is really like a lot of arcs.
It's like a
Narratively,
huge arc and full of like mini arcs, is what you're saying. I mean,
it's almost the
They're
exact
not even
same
really mini
idea as the
arcs; they're just
tuning
straight up
exams.
arcs.
Yeah, it's like the tuning exams, how it's actually the tuning exams and then Konoha Crush. It's all one event, but it's two different arcs entirely.
I see.
Yeah.
But like, do you think that like Kaguya would have had like a better reputation in like the fandom if she had like her own movie separate from the war arc?
I think the best thing they could do without completely changing everything is there's two main ways I probably would say you could do this, but have a little bit more of a build up for Zetsu. It can be vague, but making him seem a bit more suspicious, like, something you're like, I know something's coming, I don't know what, but there's something about this guy. And then also with Kaguya, probably have her intertwine into some of the, like, Madara mentions her very late in the game about how chakra came to be, and that's kind of like the end of it. If you just intertwine Kaguya into the stories about, shinobi history a little bit more, Hagoromo's in every single one like 50 times. If they integrated Kaguya into the story just a little bit more, somehow, somewhere, it doesn't really matter. So there's just more expectation for Kaguya. But even then, technically speaking, it's late in the game, but they are building up to Kaguya pretty rapidly, actually, right before she's revealed. But if you just
Mhm.
started it earlier, I think those two things would probably help a lot of it, and then after that, I think a lot of people just don't like.
Well,
They think
it's not
Kaguya is
that.
stupid, and
No. It's not
that's
that
because
people
Black Zetsu
dislike
and Kaguya
Kaguya.
are existing at the same time. I
It's
feel like.
it's not because people
Huh?
dislike Kaguya. It's that people liked Madara, and they hate the fact that Madara was shafted. So they're hating Kaguya because of that, not because of Kaguya herself. People are fine with Kaguya as
I
a
think
character or as an idea.
I think she should have shown up during the Peaceful World saga, and could have like taken the place of what's that
Binary.
Naruto.
Everyone says that, but I disagree with it.
Why?
Mm.
Well,
I think
I was thinking like during that time, like Sasuke and Naruto could be like training or something like that. They go their separate ways or some shit,
That
and
could
then
be
they like come
interesting.
back.
I think her
Yeah, it's like the
backstory
reason
should
the
have
moon is
been.
falling, rather than Toneri's arbitrary random reason that they just wrote in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the
You know
biggest
what?
fan of Toneri
You know
either.
what? You know what? How about have Toneri still happen, right? But then he says like at the end, Kaguya's coming, or like have it be like a Saiyan Saga type of build up or something like that. You know what I mean? Like Toneri can be like the Raditz of the Saiyan arc, if that makes sense.
To me, if they were going to explore Kaguya more, I think they should have done it. Obito had confronted Naruto while he was out, I think somewhere in the hidden snow, like not in hidden snow, like somewhere like out in the snowy regions, where him, Yamato, and Kakashi were trying to, still train him. Obito had confronted Naruto while he was laying down, and then, Yamato had tried to separate Naruto from Madara while Kakashi was trying to ask him, who is he and stuff like that. And they were explaining Hagoromo, Indra, and Ashura's backstory. I feel like that could have
Yeah.
been a point where they could have introduced Kaguya, talked
I
about her
agree.
to a certain extent.
Or
a
in the
very-
Five Kage Summit itself
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, even in the 5 Kage Summit, they could have explained her story right then and there, so we can get
Like,
an
from-
expectation. So that
Yeah.
way we can, expect that Kaguya is going to make her appearance at some given point during the story. And that way it wouldn't feel like a rushed or just out of nowhere Madara gets stabbed in his back by Black Zetsu, or for Kaguya to exist,
This is funny. So Zetsu says there's 2 things required to revive Mother. The first one being the Divine Tree,
Okay.
which I guess you could say that, sure, Madara absorbed the Divine Tree. It's weird that he says Divine Tree instead of Tin Tails here. I mean, he should know Tin Tails. But whatever. The second thing, Infinite
By
Tsukiyomi,
means of Rinnegan.
by means of Ren. And you can't. Okay, maybe you'd say, "Oh, Rene Sharingan is what he actually means," and he's just not distinctly saying the two. It shows purple to Rinnegan here. So,
It doesn't make sense.
but the Rinnegan requires Hagoro's. Okay, yeah, Hagoro's are the other thing, yeah. Which you pass on Indra and Ashura,
I mean-
and the Tail Beast, which form the Tin Tails.
I mean, it's
Or scattered
a little bit
across
weird. Okay, so you could say that like the stone tablet tells Madara, when you possess the power of the Rinnegan and fly up to the moon, the third eye will awaken. So you do need the Rinnegan to do it. It's just weird how but the point was, the end goal was the point. You needed the Rene Sharingan for the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Like, you need the
Infinite
Rinnegan
Tsukiyomi
first,
by
yes.
means
But it's the
of
Rene
Rinnegan.
Sharingan that casts the jutsu.
The only problem with that is, if you're going with that interpretation, it seems like the Divine Tree would also be by means of Rinnegan. He's lumping these 2 things together, considering they're the 2 things necessary to revive
Oh, yeah.
Mother. So I don't think it works under that context either.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I get, yeah, but here's the thing. The Divine Tree wouldn't have happened if Obito didn't pull out the Ten Tails and turn it into a Divine Tree, and then Madara suck it back in.